Episode fucking 12, guys. How is everybody doing?
What's up?
What up?
Troy, nope. Troy, try again. Bring some more energy. Let's do this.
Look at the camera, Troy.
What up?
There you go. Thank you. All right, guys. I'm super excited. Just a quick warning to those who are hanging out with us live right now. I'm on a Walmart internet connection, it seems, out in the middle of Orlando, Florida. So please forgive any freezes or anything that gets funky. But we're gonna crush it, and we're gonna have some fun, boys. Jacob,
Yes, sir.
thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, man. Excited.
Dude, it's gonna be a good time. You look like you're crammed in between like 3 racks right there. What's going on?
Bro, this is the ultimate game of Tetris in here, man. I swear, like it's like probably maybe 110 square feet in here, but I've got 4 ARS racks and a 48-inch sea serpent incubator in here somehow, and a desk. So yeah, it's cramped. It is cramped. You can't turn around.
It's a little cramped, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's cool though.
Just a warning to everybody: Chaise most likely will not be joining us, and if he does, it will be very, very, very late to the mic. So we'll see how that goes. He's off having dinner with some zookeepers and having some fun. So he bailed on us tonight, but that's all right. We're gonna get through it. So sweet. Troy, how's your week been?
Good, man. I just got back from the St. Louis Reptile Show, the NERBC show in St. Louis, or the St. Louis area, I should say. Went really well, man. Show was busy Saturday. I know there's some people that have a different opinion, but for me, I thought the show was great. I thought Saturday was busy for that particular show. Sold well, met a lot of new people, had some great dinners. Michael and I stuck around and went to the zoo, and that was a good time, man. It was pretty fun, man. Their like herpetological building is just phenomenal. So if you get to St. Louis, like the zoo itself is great, and if you're a fellow reptile guy like the rest of us, I think you'll definitely love that particular building. So rest of the week's been good, man. I have another show this weekend in Minnesota, and so this is the first time in like my 12 years that I think that I've had now like 4 different weekends that I had back-to-back shows, and I'm not a big fan of that. And so it's been interesting maneuvering all that. So, yeah.
Jesus, man, that's intense. Yeah. That's a lot going on there. Wow. Yeah. Jacob, how's your week been?
Good, man. Pretty busy. I work part-time for Mike Roscoe. He's got a pet shop out here in Temecula, California. And so they're heavy on shows right now. They did like 2 last weekend. They're doing another one this weekend in Phoenix or Arizona somewhere.
Yeah, Phoenix.
So that puts a crazy mix up on my week because I'm in charge of feeding and taking care of stuff and handling sick animals and getting stuff to eat, assist feeding, doing all that good stuff. So, obviously the feeding schedule gets screwed up, but then we've had a 2-week period where we have to go. So it's just been crazy at work, but for the most part, handling it, getting it done. Good week, good solid week. Went fast.
Wait, what about Andrew's wedding?
Oh, that. Well, technically that was last week. So no, that was fun. That was great. That was one of the best times of my life that I've in a long time. I mean, man, what a good time.
Good.
You should came, Troy.
Yeah,
he's not.
Man. I'm a shitty friend.
He's not rubbing it in at all. I love that.
Oh no, Troy, you wouldn't have had fun. You probably.
Yeah, man, I had a tearful moment, Jacob, while at the St. Louis show, man. I had to like go off into the lobby, and I hid underneath the escalators because I was a little upset with myself. So
over that?
Yeah, man, it like hit me. Like I went around the show. Andrew knows this because I've already sent them to him. I wanted to make Andrew like a little video of like fellow reptile keepers that either knew Andrew or know of Andrew, and so I went around and like asked everybody to say something, and like as I finished up and I got Antoine's and like I listened to it and like I was like, it just kind of hit me, man. Like, and so I went and hid under the escalators. There's these escalators by this coffee shop there, and so I grabbed a chair and kind of hid off to the side. I had a moment.
Yeah.
No,
you had to do what you had to do, man.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Andrew understands that too, dude. Like,
so,
all kidding aside, Andrew totally understood the predicament, man.
Yeah.
It's not as easy for you to get all the way out there to, for a one-day event like it is for, local people and local friends. So
yeah, man. Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time. So yeah, if Andrew ends up listening, congrats. He already knows how I feel, and so certainly happy for him and Nicole. So
yeah, he's probably not here though because he's a bad friend. So
he's a piece of shit.
I was wondering how quickly it was going to turn from y'all giving the nice platitudes to like, but Andrew's a piece of shit.
Oh no, totally a piece of shit. I mean, I feel like I don't even have to say that anymore.
I think it's understood at this point, right?
Everyone understands what a piece of shit Andrew is. So
I do need to go and like share our link though in some groups because I'm a little behind tonight. So I'm going to do that for a second. Try to bring a couple extra people our way.
Wow, Troy, what do you even do around here anymore?
I don't know, man. I have too many sticks in the fire at the moment.
Breeds pieds. He breeds pieds.
He breeds pieds. I've heard that rumor.
It's true.
So while Troy's sharing stuff into other random groups, any news this week in the ball python world we should know about, guys?
I don't know, man. I heard something about was it the desert gene or
desert gene? Huh. I heard those aren't fertile. Is that what we're talking about?
Hey, whatever happened to, speaking of infertile, whatever happened to that dude that claimed his scaleless female gave laid eggs?
I mean, I haven't seen anything from him since. So.
Patrick, how long have you been in this community and like in this, like how long?
2011.
So over 10 years, right? So
yeah,
you've seen what that has been over the last decade of people trying to make that project happen. So
I remember watching the first Barcheck video when he cut the eggs. I saw Mr. Smooth at Daytona when he was at Daniel Allison's table, and I held him and talked to Daniel about it.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I was that project was a huge deal, like kind of towards the beginning of when I did all of this, when I got in, because I think that's probably like 2014, 15 timeframe.
Oh.
So yeah, that was a few years after I got in, and that was one of the first. Banana had just tanked, and Scaleless was the next really big incomplete dominant that came in after Banana. I think
that's wild.
Patrick, do you remember Sunset like at Tenley? So let's say like Brian brought the Scaleless to Tenley. Mm-hmm. That Tenley and like the following Tenley, it seemed like Sunset was really hot. And then all of a sudden it took like a big dip, and like the following like Tenley, or maybe like the following Tenley, it was like that people were like giving away heads.
Yeah.
For Sunset?
Yeah, for like, Sunset. So it was
really quick or something.
What year?
This would have been like 2016, 17.
Oh wow.
I bought a male het Sunset for $2,000, $2,500 in like 2017, I think, maybe 2018, maybe. No. It was definitely 17 or 16. Yeah, man, the hets they definitely dropped down quite a bit.
Wow.
Yeah. Patrick, give us a romance novel ChatGPT description of what holding a Scaleless felt like. It was pretty incredible.
Michael, my kid really remembers that moment because, like I said, Barcheck was at that show, and like Michael got to hold, this $100,000 snake or whatever at the time, right? And
yeah.
He thought it was the coolest thing in the planet. I remember that day pretty well. So
it's funny that y'all have positive memories. I remember I hadn't bought into the project yet, and then I go to Daytona, and Daniel has Mr. Smooth with him. And I took pictures and I sent it to every one of my friends, and I said, I will never buy one of these animals because it looked so bad in person. And I was just like, this right here is the worst thing that could have happened to this project, is them bringing it to Daytona. But there were all of those rumors that, the female had died. And so they were trying to bring it to show that it was also alive as well. So there was just a lot of suspicion and innuendo around that whole project at the time. And for whatever reason, Barcheck and Daniel and potentially Will Banks, I don't know if he was really in on that. I know he had bought into the project at that point, but I don't know if he was a part of that decision to bring the animal to Daytona.
Gotcha.
It does seem like after that, so like if you just say 2018, 19 somewhere, it does seem like it corrected pretty quickly too.
Very quickly.
Yeah. So it seems like you could have got a really good deal, at one point, and then shortly after, man, it was kind of back to, the norm and whatnot. So Yeah, man, it definitely an interesting project from then to even now. Lisa and I met with Brock at Tinley, and I legitimately went and had lunch with Lisa and talked about taking a second mortgage out against our house.
Really? Okay.
I wanted to buy a visual, and I think like it was a couple Het girls or something, and at the time, like, so you remember like Sunset originally sold for like $50K or something, right? I think Brock bought one for like 65, and then it seemed like the next number was like 40, 50. When I talked to Brock, I want to say it was like, whatever. I'm lying.
So
remember, I just remember altogether, like maybe the 3 animals was going to be like 50 grand.
They dropped a lot then, pretty quickly.
Not lucky because I have Sunset, but I mean, I bought it at a much less expensive price.
Hold on. I will tell you what Sunset's. Oh, please tell me I still have this message. So my last text message to Ben Rennick before he died was me buying a Sunset from him.
Wow.
I'm trying to see if I can find this because I had the pricing on it. It makes me so sad. Like, anyway, that was rough.
My last message
I hear you,
was about tri-stripes.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
You've been working tri-stripe for a while, or you had it for a while?
No, man. So I really early on wanted to buy some tri-stripe, and I had kind of a mentor that I will leave nameless. And actually a couple people, and they both told me like that project will absolutely go nowhere. Don't do it. Like, and I trusted them, and like I didn't buy into it, and I kind of wish that I would have. And so, Jacob, I ended up buying into tri-stripe years later. And when I did, I bought a pair of like ready to go DG tri-stripes from the UK from Mark Regal. And so, but I wish I would have got into tri-stripe long before that.
What year was that when you got that?
So I've had 3 clutches, and then she skipped a year. So, I mean, I've probably had her for 4 years.
Yeah. That was a pretty big.
But I wanted to buy into tri-stripe. It would have been probably roughly 10 years ago is when I wanted to buy into tri-stripe. I was a couple years in. Lisa and I were still doing leopard geckos and like just started to buy like some ball pythons, which I think you guys know, but I've told other people to shoot. I like bought into it, like albino G stripes, and the very next thing I wanted to buy was tri-stripe, and they were like, "Don't do it." So I didn't, and man, and I think that everybody that's in this long enough, man, probably has a similar story, right? Like, your buddy tells you don't do it, and then you kind of regret it, and
I think you're right. We all have that. Let me hit a couple of real fast. Charlie, did people know about the scaleless head prior to hitting a scaleless, or did they figure that out? What's made the scaleless after? So Brian had 2 animals that were scaleless head. They were missing a few scales. And he claimed on one of his videos that like other species had something similar, and so he felt confident they would be scaleless, and that's why he bred them together. I was not particularly friendly with Brian at that time, so I can't really speak to what was going on there and what he really did or didn't know. But yeah, the scaleless head thing was known, and I think they had a strong feeling. Will's Hello Heat just said 60K for a male. Yeah, I'm pretty sure him and Brad split the 60K on that Sunset. I'm not positive, but I thought they bought it together.
That it was that he had a partnership, but I talked to Brock during that partnership, and so like it was probably a year after they bought into it or something.
Okay, yeah.
Because whenever they first hatched like their own Sunsets, because I think he had a male and a couple females. So females, but yeah.
Luke, did Brock say that somebody tried to buy that Sunset puzzle for 150K? Because if so, Brock should have handed that snake over faster than any other sale he's ever had a chance to make. That is.
I'm going to stay out of this conversation because I don't have an opinion.
I think just about any opportunity to sell a snake for 150K, you should probably take it. I
have never had that opportunity. That would be interesting, man. I even talk about like, like Justin recently, a couple years ago at Tinley turned down like 60 grand or something from a guy on a, triple hat or a triple visual, right? I think it was the example PG, whatever clown. Or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, $60,000, like $60,000 to some people is, I mean, that's their year's salary or double their salary or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're talking about snakes,
Yeah.
And the rest of us, from a business standpoint, you have to think like, God, how hard is it to turn down 60,000? But like over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, like how much that snake's going to make for you in the long run, but yeah, man, money talks and situation. We talk about this, right? A lot. Like your situation, dictates, God, if I was hurting, right? So my life was changing and I had a $60,000 snake, do I have to take it to get, pay my bills or to pay off something or whatever. Right. So
I've been there. My first season, I was there for sure. Sold a lot of stuff in my first year. I wish I would have kept, but
yeah, I mean, good for him. I mean, good for Brock. And I mean, it's awesome to be in a place where you don't have to. And that's fantastic. I don't think there's a snake that we've been offered a lot for an animal, a whole lot, not 100K, but a significant amount. And we turned it down, but it wasn't 100K, right? It was like 50K, which is still a spectacular amount of money. Don't get me wrong, but for 150K, I don't think there's many snakes that are sticking around, but great for him. That's fucking awesome. I love it. Right? I do like that. Brock said if he said 250K, he'd probably have done it. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think 250 would be absolutely insane.
Yeah, it'd be pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, man, that's great. Good.
Antoine loves hearing these numbers right now, man.
Yeah.
Antoine, he's like, yeah, that's how much you should buy it for.
Yeah,
I know he's close.
Yeah.
Did we lose Patrick?
We might have lost him for a minute, man, but it should let us stay on. So.
That's a great shot of Patrick, by the way.
It is, man. Yeah. He just looks super derpy. I love it. I hope everybody.
It looks like he's getting ready to grant a wish or something, dude.
That's great. I am super multitasking right now, Jacob. So I apologize.
No worries. I love these stories.
I'm talking and listening to you guys. I'm trying to read the comments, and I have 3 images I have to finish editing to get to a person yet tonight. And so I'm did you all just lose me? Patrick. We are still live, but you are gone. And our template
is screwed.
Looks stupid right now. I'm so sorry, everybody. Just deal with this. I know he's in Orlando, a little family vacation with him and the wife and some friends, and they've been doing here he comes back on. So yeah.
Perfect.
Hey, what's up, Patrick?
Guys, this is gonna be a rough night. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good, man. It's all good.
Okay.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. I feel like we've been covering a lot of stuff already.
Let's get back to the DG thing because I think we were going to talk about that, but I don't know what it is. I don't know. Did something happen with DG?
Before you get to the DG thing, man, you got to go through Off Track with Troy.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Let's do Off Track with Troy.
It's always off track with Troy, though, dude.
It is, man. That's for sure. So, Jacob, since you are a very good friend of mine, one of my besties for the resty,
right?
I might take it easy on you tonight.
I wish you wouldn't. I really do.
I know, but I
feel like you're taking it easy on me because you're afraid of what I might do in retaliation.
No,
but canceled or something.
I feel like these will still give us some good questions to learn a little bit about Jacob outside of the snake world. So
cool.
So the questions you can't answer snake related. You have to answer them life related.
Gotcha.
Okay. By the way, my head looks really shiny.
It's beautiful.
And these all right. Anyways, what is your biggest regret in life?
Damn. There's so many. No. I don't, man. Why you got to hit me with this shit, Troy? This is a tough one, dude. Yeah. This is a deep one.
I bet you got a good answer. I can feel it.
I wish I could have been better at being a father when my daughter was younger, when I was in my early 20s, that I see now because I'm a father again with a 3-year-old. But yeah, I think I wish I knew how to navigate that a little better.
That's a good question or a good answer, man. For everybody listening, Jacob and I have a very similar life. We're both adopted. Our biological family situation was very similar. We're pretty close to the same age. Like Jacob and I were cut from the same cloth. And I have to say, Jacob, I agree, as a regret, man, that the way I raised Michael was wrong. And I thought I knew what I was doing as a 22-year-old when we had a baby. He's now 22. And so, just kind of interesting, right, man? But I think that's probably a parent regret for everybody. I think a good person with a good heart probably has some regrets on how they raise their children, because it definitely doesn't come with a manual, man. That's for sure. So,
right. And there's, I think too, to add, like the fact that my daughter is now, going to be 21, and I have a 3-year-old son. It does definitely give you a different perspective, and not only from that angle of like doing it all over again, but also just being older and a little wise. I think I'm a little wiser than I used to be.
Yeah, I would do it differently, man. That's for sure.
So it definitely gives you a perspective that you may not catch.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm gonna go with what is something that you're most thankful for?
Man, I'm thankful for just about every aspect of what you were just talking about earlier. Like, it sounds weird, and I probably have not always been there. I know I haven't always been there, but at this point in my life, I'm thankful for every single thing, that every way it went, man, because I'm here. Like, none of this happens. It's, I'm here now.
Yeah.
And it's, all of those things that happen. And there's a lot of deep, tragic stuff that's happened, in the past, and that a lot of people probably take for granted that you and I speaking, like, probably thought about every day of our life, which is, a whole other. But yeah.
When people talk about the ripple effect, man, and stuff like that,
like,
I think about each one of those ripples, and guys like you and I probably overthink them.
We do. 100%.
But we know where they've led us, man. And though our path has had some bumps, we're both here today, right? So
right. And I don't know, it would be the same if it was easier or didn't have to go through some of those trials,
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. I've learned to appreciate things that, at the time were just sucky and just horrible.
Yeah. I was angry about, man.
Anger. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice, man. That's good stuff. What would be your perfect day?
Oh man, probably Saturday at Andrew's bachelor party.
I love that so much. That is amazing.
That was the perfect day. That was such
Thank you,
a
Jacob.
day.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really fun. It's probably the best day of my life.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff.
No, I mean, I think I don't know anymore, man. Like, sometimes I think just locking myself in the snake room and just doing whatever needs to be done, checking waters and just weighing stuff, ultrasounding, pairing. I that really is kind of like my grounding force, and like kind of like my happy place, I guess you'd say.
Nice. That's good stuff. I like that. I do the same, right? Lock myself in the snake room. So yeah.
Yeah. I think Lisa locks you in the snake room, actually. Let's be real.
What is something on your bucket list?
Oh man. These fucking questions, I swear to God.
I mean, it's not like you didn't know they were coming, Jacob.
I know, but this is like, I've thought about all these questions and I didn't know which ones he was going to ask me. But the first time you got your first episode when Troy did this, I thought about it, like how I would answer some of these. And then I've been on other podcasts where they've asked me weird questions, like if you could hang out with one person, dead or alive, those kind of questions, and it's always just like, there's so many answers, especially on the spot. But this is one of the questions I didn't think about that he was going to ask me.
Brain buster.
I don't know, dude. Maybe I'd like to travel to every continent.
Yeah,
I think that would be cool.
All
like,
right.
Go to some place in each continent and just kind of like soak it in, do the tourist thing and see the sights and the culture and the people and then get the hell home.
All right.
When I'm done.
Nice.
Bucket list.
Yeah. What are you most afraid of?
I don't know. What do you mean? Like metaphorically or literally or?
I think not spiders, you know. I think what's something that scares you in life? What are you afraid of?
Oh man. I'm afraid of offending people. Like genuinely offending people. Which is a weird answer for me, right?
Yeah.
It's a very weird, but it is true. Like I don't like leaving somebody and them being like genuinely offended.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a good feeling. Like I do joke around. I know I'd cross the line more times than I don't when it comes to our humor, like, and especially in our groups and stuff. But like, I genuinely do that. It's from a place of laughter and fun. And it's occasionally,
you and I have had a phone call where I'd be afraid that I offended somebody in our group or something, right? We've had those.
Right.
Yeah, nice. No, that's good answer, man. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end this one with what I think will be humorous to at least me. Is Tony in the comments? Do we know if Tony's in the comments?
He was earlier, but I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah. Oh, that darn Tony. I was gonna ask you only if Tony's listening, and if he's not, he can hear this later. If you could take any one comment away from Tony, what comment would it be?
I have an inchy leopard desert ghost clown for sale.
You're not going to go with Pastel Lesser?
No. Oh, his comment or my comment?
Yeah, his comment. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was a lot of other things, but now, since the other night, and I'm not going to mention like where I heard this or where it came from, but the discussion of making, I believe it was, what was it, Stranger Clown we were talking? What was it talking about?
I think the question from the podcaster.
Oh, Sunset.
Was, hey, how would you make Puzzle Sunset better?
Yes, and Tony said, with no hesitation, and with reckless abandon and complete confidence, lesser.
Okay, hold on. We all have to just take a moment to appreciate the confidence and brazen disregard for what makes snakes look good.
I'm sweating now, dude. I don't.
Oh, dude, that is so good.
Tony and his mom are both in the comments, so this makes it even better.
Oh, that is so good. What in the world, Tony?
He was having an out-of-body experience. He was nervous, and the first thing that came to his mind, was lesser. So,
okay, not hypo, not desert ghost.
No, just lesser. Maybe some
just
pastel.
lesser.
It's like that scene at the end of Ghostbusters when the person tells them to pick what destroys them, and he thought of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, dude.
Yes.
Yeah. Tony thought of it.
Dude. He's like lesser.
Oh my God.
You know that we love you, man, and it was a funny moment. You're never gonna live it down, and so I had to let Jacob have a moment of Tony laughter here. So, that was amazing.
Oh, that is so good.
Patrick, listen to this, man. We're going to talk about this Tony comment first for a minute. Me and Michael were on our way back from St. Louis, so I was listening in the car, right? And I was driving, and I hear the question, and I hear him say lesser, and I had like a moment where I gripped the wheel, and I was like, looked at Michael, and Michael was like, what? And I'm like, did he just say lesser? And Michael's like, sure, why? And because Michael doesn't give two shits, right? And doesn't know anything. And I'm like, you couldn't pick any worse of a genius.
It's like that moment where you just want to be like, have you seen a lesser sunset when it's like 6 months old? It's a problem.
Poor Tony. I'm sorry.
I love that so much, Tony. Thank you.
Tony. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, there were I mean, we could have added spot nose, yellow belly, red stripe, agreed, beast. Like all of those are great options. You know, and honestly, anything's better. I'd argue pastel probably was a better answer.
Have you heard Next Level's new slogan?
Oh no, what is it?
Lesser, because why fuck with stranger or confusion?
It's like Jesus came down and said, Tony, listen, I can magically make your puzzle sunset with either lesser or some new
anything else. Yeah.
And Tony was like, yeah, you know what, Jesus, high five. Let's go with lesser.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Love Tony. All right, we're gonna get off track with Troy and back to off the mic with Patrick and Troy and not Chase because he's a piece of crap.
Right.
He is. Oh, but Tony, we all do love you.
Yes, so,
maybe you should get rid of all the lesser in your collection.
Yeah,
it's clearly become a problem.
Mom, we love your son. We love Tony. So don't hate us.
Yeah, don't hate us. Hate your son and hate lesser.
Hate your son. Yeah, hate him.
Nice. All right. So I guess RGI posted a video earlier in the week talking about their first runs of the DGC tests. All of these were from the free DG tests that people were able to send in. So for those who don't remember or weren't around, maybe 6 months ago now, maybe a little bit longer, when they were still trying to kind of ferret things out, and they had said, there's an extra gene that's possibly regulating everything. So they gave everybody the opportunity to send in one known either head or visual, and then a pos head shed, and they were supposed to run those. And so they're just now kind of churning through that data, and they released the first batch. And after looking at the first batch, it's looking like it is probably a simple recessive, and that DGC is the gene that is responsible for it.
Hey, Patrick, really quick, just to catch me up a tad, on that. So like, is it, I saw something like go look at the list or something. Where's this information at? Yeah.
So if you go to their video, there's a link. Let me see real fast. I don't remember if I saved it, and I can just go ahead and go through some of this with all of us right now if we want.
Yeah, they shared it on the screen real quick, but I didn't know if there was an actual link and if you had seen actual data, all of it.
Completely. I have seen the actual data, and there is a link. I'm
going to say this really quick too. I'm not going to let this conversation turn nerdy.
No. It's not. So I can go. Let me go. Let me see if I can find the link real fast. We're not going to dive too nerdy into it. Really, what the takeaway is that of all of the known hets, DGC was there. DGC definitely 100% of the time showed up on the known hets, and it showed up almost 100% on the visuals. The only two visuals that it did not show up on, one I don't personally think is actually a visual desert ghost, and the other maybe is a desert ghost, but neither one of those were labeled as desert ghosts when they got sent in.
Patrick,
so
like on the two you're talking about, like in your opinion, would it be something that an average snake breeder would have been like, oh, I'm not really sure, it looks really clean, I think it's DG?
Well, you know what, Troy, that's a great question, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at it together.
All right.
So
I've got my computer up and running since I'm at the studio, so I'll be able to actually see it.
All right, so I'm going to share.
Hey, Andrew, that's a weird way of saying that you don't know how to think good.
I don't know how to think good. Oh, hold on. They have us locked in view only. So let's do this. Let's go just open up a blank.
Hey, Patrick, you have the thing on still, the template.
You can't see my screen. Is that what you're saying?
No, you can, but the template cuts it all up.
You know what, guys? One of these days, we're going to be professional at this.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go there. Okay, so what do we see now? All right, let me do some quick housekeeping to make this look cleaner so that we can all look at this together. We're going to set up a filter. That, of course, fucks everything up because...
And anybody listening, if you're on like a phone and this is hard to see, I'll try to pause Patrick for maybe moments of clarity, and I will share what we can. Does that make sense? I'll try to make it you can all follow along.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So if you just look at the column, they have the sample number in column A, and these are going to be just from A to C. I'm not going to say every column, but basically they have sample number. They have the owner of the snake, which is coded. You can find out who that is if you want. They have sample 1 or 2 from that owner. They have the sex of the animal, and then the columns that really matter. Visual desert ghost, and then it's either yes or no or question mark. The question mark we'll talk about in a second. And then columns F, G, and H are for DGC, DGA, and DGB. And then they have some notes, known genes, and they also have photo links, which we'll look at in a second. So the first thing I did is I just sorted A to Z for homozygous animals or visual desert ghosts, right? They had some issues in this run where they had some reruns.
Right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and filter out all of the reruns because that data doesn't actually matter.
Right.
Okay. So if we look at the visuals, all of the visuals come back as homozygous DGC, except this guy right here, number 17, which I'm really hoping when I click on it.
That's one of the ones that you don't think is, that's the one you think is not Desert Ghost?
I don't think this one is Desert Ghost, correct?
So I saw one in their video and I kind of thought maybe, that's the one. That's thinking that could be like a pastel hypo, dude.
Yeah, I don't think it's Desert Ghost. I don't personally think it is. And it came from a, I don't want to say questionable source, but from the lineage of this animal is probably going to be really almost impossible to track down.
Gotcha.
So I'm not.
That's interesting though, Patrick, looking at the one that you pulled up, like first look, if you were maybe educated and this was your first chance at a DG animal, I would defend that person probably thought it was DG just on an uneducated guess, right?
Yeah. So what I was told the lineage of this animal was it was bought as a proven breeder from a known flipper. So an individual that, is known to buy and resell animals. Okay. And so like I said, the lineage, relatively speaking, seemed kind of questionable. I don't look at that animal and say, hey, that's Desert Ghost. So I tend to side with the test on this one and say, yeah, it's not a visual, so I'm not surprised that it's not matching up, if that makes sense.
Right. I agree.
There is one other down here. Let me scroll all the way down because the question marks came down here. This one did not come in labeled as a Desert Ghost. Ben looked at the picture and was like, oh, that kind of looks Desert Ghost. And so this is the animal. It's very clean.
Yeah.
It probably is Desert Ghost. I just don't know for sure,
Yes, again, that's something too. So like, I just look at it and think in the mind of maybe, again, I don't know who these people are, right? So if you told me like, oh, Justin sent this in and said it was DG and it turned out not, I'd be like super surprised that he would screw up, right? But if you told me Joe Blow, this is his first het-to-het pairing and this animal came out, I would want to think, okay, it's pretty clean. I would think it's DG, right? So I would see where the mistake is made if it's wrong.
Right. I hatched out some pastel leopard yellow belly clown females that looked almost this clean. Like I'd argue just as clean.
Right.
And so this one was another one where I was like, I don't look at this and immediately I'm like 100% no questions asked Desert Ghost. It might be, it probably is. I don't know for sure. If we, as Ben does more tests, he should have another 300 done within the next 2 weeks. Yeah. If those other 300 all, agree with what's expected, and this is truly the only outlier, I would be comfortable saying this is not Desert Ghost. Yeah. So of all of the visuals, those are the only two questionable ones. So that's a win. Cool. Love that. Now, when we get down to the hets, we're going to scroll down a little bit. The hets are labeled as no, as you can see. And if you look at DGC is still, actually, let me, just for the people that are actually trying to watch this, let me lock this and freeze first row so we can scroll down and keep that there. Okay. So starting in row 54, you'll notice that all of the hets are hit by DGC. So DGC hits het on every het there. So that's a win. What I also think is some important information to see here is DGA, which was one of the original markers, right? It hits, if DGA is present, whether het or homozygous, 92% of the time, it shows up with DGC. What that means is that it's very likely to be in a het DG animal. So all those people that have het DGA animals and they're like, oh my God, this test is worthless, blah, blah, blah. In reality, it means that there's a 92% chance your animal is het Desert Ghost.
That's me. That's all mine were coming up het A.
Yeah. Now, I do want to say, like, there's a slight caveat of this is only like 20 something samples so far.
Right.
We're going to have a whole lot more over the next few weeks, and then we can really dive into some true numbers. But as it stands now, we're only like 22 samples in. But it's promising. It's looking good. Yeah. It's
Patrick,
definitely looking. Yeah.
Like, in your opinion, then, if you get through these 22, you add another 300 or another. Like, at some point, do you think, in your opinion, or if any talks you've had with Ben, will they change the test results to just non-het,
yes.
like clown?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
So we'll get away from okay. So that'll be down the road here. I feel
very comfortable saying this I've had many conversations with Ben about this stuff.
Right.
And I asked him yesterday, like, can I specifically talk about this? Yeah, they're hoping that it's just DGC. It's going to make it a much easier test. We can offer one thing to test for, and life will be much easier. So
if it works out the way you're saying with what they've done already, then there's no bad there either. I mean, you pretty much paid for a test that shows what it is. I mean,
yeah. So it definitely, like the previous stuff, you paid for a test that it's not going to give you 100% het desert ghost, right? Like there's the difference, but it's 92%. It's pretty good. So you can roll with that.
Patrick, are you saying,
too, like, more samples?
Yeah.
Patrick, for anybody that sent in a test and it came back het A, and now they've sold that animal under that info.
Yeah.
Are you saying the percentage there is it's X amount percentage that it's more than likely a het?
Yeah. So if, let's say you sent an animal, so let's say you have an animal that came from a known het, right? So you know that the animal that you bred was a het. You had your animal tested as a pos het, and it came back as het DGA. Based on the data so far, there's a 92% chance that animal is het DGC or het desert ghost. Not 100%. It's 92%, which is good, right?
Okay.
It's better than their 85, you know?
Yeah.
What about this then, Patrick? What about things that came back negative, like no het A, het B? Is there still an opportunity that this thing could be het?
Yes. Yeah. There is a chance of that. So like, I actually don't know. I don't remember scrolling through. I don't think I saw any like that. No, not on this run. I didn't see any.
I was curious if you saw.
Oh, actually, just a second. We have one. Yeah, there's one here that came back. No for het DGA, no for het DGB, but it was het for DGC. That animal probably is a het.
Okay.
But I would argue I'd much rather have a test that's going to give me false negatives than false positives.
Right.
As a seller, because it means that my customers aren't going to get screwed out of stuff.
Right.
Right. So if they sell that animal and somebody takes a DG whatever to it for shits and giggles and it proves.
Yeah, that's a win for them.
You're a win for your customer, and they're probably going to come back to you and be like, "Hey, man, that thing was het." Like, "Oh, cool, right?"
Yeah.
Like we've all been there.
Yeah, that's a win.
This long enough, so all right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's looking promising at the moment. All of this really needs to, we really need to tap the brakes a little bit though, and still understand we're still pumping out more tests. Yeah. We're still getting the full picture.
So I just want to stop you again, Patrick, but
no, you're good.
Charlie, Gray Rider, said, can we say that 92% number, even though we haven't seen any known not hets?
Yeah. So Charlie, I get where you're coming from with that. Yeah. What we can say right now is if DGC truly is the indicator, and we're going to make that assumption for the moment, if DGC is truly what is regulating Desert Ghost, and then if we do a comparison then and say, how many times did DGA also appear when DGC is present? And the answer is 92% of the time. That means 92% of the time you have a marker that's indicating that DGC is probably there, which, inversely means 8% of the time it's not there. So yeah, with the data you can right now, it's fairly comfortable to say that. There's going to be more negative controls. There's going to be, more stuff. Like I said, Ben has, I think he told me 300 samples that they're going to try and have out by the week after Thanksgiving. So we're going to have a lot more data relatively soon to really get some like good numbers down. He is going to have Charlie. He's going to have some known negatives in there. So there's going to be some stuff in there we can really do some math, but it is definitely starting to look like it's a simple recessive, and that A and B are potentially genes that were just selected for through all of our breedings, whether they're high contrast genes or enhancing genes, whatever it is. They're just something that kind of got naturally selected for. And that's why, we do see some variation within the desert ghost stuff, but that's all kind of speculative and things that we'll have to figure out as they work, through stuff.
Yeah. And so like people that are listening or they see this down the road, the percentages we're talking about are based on numbers you're seeing right now. And if the numbers stay the same as those numbers then stay the same, right? I'm just dumbing it down for people here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah. And Jacob, this has been pretty frustrating for you. You were waiting on a lot of tests and, got tests back and things like that. And then, this all pops up, man. So I know this has been a pretty hot subject for you.
It's been a nightmare, man. But for me, it was never about the breeding aspect. I figured it was just going to be the same, no matter what the hell they wanted to call it. But I was worried about the market and just how people were reacting to the news. And, the big thing was I felt like in the beginning when they were talking about it, there was literally 20 different, people were telling you 20 different things, what they would pull from what they heard and what they thought they knew. And there was 20 different rumors running around of how it actually worked and what this meant. It was just too much, man. And I just thought whoa, we all need to relax.
It's funny, Jacob, coming from a science background, that's how I feel 99% of my life is.
Right.
I even with other scientists, right? I could go and give a presentation and it would amaze me how many people would come up and be like, oh yeah, I really appreciated your thoughts on this. And I'm like, I didn't say any of that, but that's fine. So it's unfortunately it's not unique to just the snake world.
Right.
But yeah, it's fun. Benevolent, are you asking how expensive it is to do a full genome, or are you talking about
that's what they're talking
if you're asking about a full genome, you're looking at $10,000 to $15,000, give or take. And that includes sequencing and then bioinformatics time. Bioinformatics time is basically using the computers to assemble everything and the man hours to do it.
Wow.
Yeah, you're if you have a company do it, you're looking at $10,000 to $15,000, give or take. So.
And then, and I certainly don't want to kick a big dead horse here, man. But
yeah.
But because we get a lot of questions about this. But Andrew's asking, is it possible that every recessive has a genetic marker? Is that something you can just touch on for a minute, Patrick?
Oh, buddy. Okay, so yes, every phenotype, every disease, everything has some form of a marker. And when we talk about a marker, we're talking about a mutation that can indicate that something's there. And let me take a quick step back. When you say a marker, are you talking about Ringer and Pied, or are you talking about what we're seeing with Desert Ghost?
I think
he's talking about genetically, with Desert Ghost, what we're seeing with Desert Ghost. Yeah.
Yeah. So we call those biomarkers. So anybody that's ever done 23andMe, you probably got results back that said something like you have a 63% chance of being bald, or you have a 42% chance of getting breast cancer based on tests, or you have, based on, your profile, you probably are a heavy set individual, right? You get those tests back. The reason they can do that is they're doing, full sequencing, right? And they find mutations or differences, and they kind of group those populations together, right? And they say, of all of the people that we have tested, 47% of them have this marker right here that indicates that I'm sorry, let me reword that. Of all the people that we've tested, we have this amount. And of that group that have this mutation, all of these people are heavy set, right? So of 100 people, 47 of them are heavy set. And so they're like, this marker indicates that there's a 47% chance that you're going to be heavy set. That same thing is across the board on everything. Whether you can find it or not is a different story. But those mutations and those consistencies are there. Yeah, absolutely. And so what we appear to have had with Desert Ghost is we have this gene that ended up being like that. It was so bred into the population that it ended up almost being as prevalent as the Desert Ghost gene itself.
Mirroring the C.
Exactly. And so the example I was kind of giving to people early on was ringer in pied, right? Just because an animal has a ringer doesn't mean it is pied. But if I breed a het pied and I have some babies that are ringers, I'm holding on to those babies, right? Because they probably are pied or het pied.
At least, yeah.
That ringer is not just like some random anomaly. It's a mutation. It's a gene. And it just happens to travel with pied because we've selected for it.
And so it's literally a separate thing than actual pied, but because it's so,
interbred,
we've bred it like that. We've kept keeping it in pied.
Yeah,
that's amazing when you think about it. It's like full circle.
Yeah. We unintentionally, and so that might also be an explanation. Most of Ben's work was done on animals here in the U.S. Most of the Canadian groups were done with, from what I understand, animals outside of the U.S. I think vast majority were from Europe and from Canada. It may just be, as crazy as this is, in America, we overbred for whatever the A and B is. And we line bred that in so much that in the American population, we had just tons of A and B. And the reason she found C so fast, assuming she found the exact same thing as Ben, but assuming she found the same thing as Ben, the Canadian and European populations may just not have been as line bred for those traits for whatever reason. So that's why it was so much easier for her to just find that right off the bat instead of hitting the A and B like Ben did. So.
And it's just a good example of why you guys go for that 99% and why you have to have so many samples, because you could literally get on a wild goose chase and chase the wrong genetic.
Well, and honestly, like you say 99%, I would argue it needs to be like 99.99999%. Like, but
just under 100, yeah.
Right. Like it needs to be to where like your failure rate is like 1 in, 5,000 samples.
Right.
Ideally. And generally a lot of times, like once you get to that point, it's not a failure in the test anymore. It's a failure in the way the process happened, right? Somebody messed up the test.
It's probably actually 100%, but just to be careful, you have to claim it's 99.999.
Yeah.
That offset that something doesn't work out.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see, Andrews. So then what makes DG any different than any other gene? Is it that DG is the only gene that we've done the full sequencing on? If so, why the big deal about DG having the genetic marker? So it's not a big deal. So the thing is, when they first did all of this, they found 2 independent genes that looked like it was making it be a polygenetic trait, right? 2 genes regulating the visual appearance. So that's where all of this came from. What we're finding out is most likely at this point, based on the current data, DGC is what is regulating desert ghost, and it is a simple recessive. It just so happens that DGA is a really good indicator, which means our tests aren't flawed, but it's not what's actually regulating the desert ghost look, the phenotype.
Right.
Yeah.
Patrick, do you think that with all this going on, does it hurt RGI as far as reputation or believing? So like, are people be afraid to send in tests, whether it's DG or not, because of what happened, or do you think people just move forward?
It's tough for me to speculate on like what people are going to do. Man, Ben is a good friend of mine. I think there was a big clamoring early on. Like people wanted Desert Ghost results out. They released Desert Ghost stuff.
Yeah.
They did say from the get-go that there was another gene probably regulating it. Obviously, everyone was very, straightforward and saying, yeah, this is polygenetic, blah, blah, blah. But they did say at the beginning, like there may be another gene regulating it. I think Ben and RGI specifically did try to cover their, butts a little bit on that front. I do think, and I've told Ben this, I think we unintentionally trained the customer to think that the tests were 100% because of how the results were reported and things like that. So I think all of that could have been done better. But I think at this point, if you want something tested, you're gonna send it in. Like I don't think this changes that aspect, right?
I think it's just a lesson learned, and I think we can all move forward. And I think they probably will never, ever do that again. Like
Josh, I agree with you. This is how science works. Where I think people have the hookup is not that this is how science works. It's when people are making significant business decisions based off of that testing knowledge and what's being released. It's a little tougher to just be like, oh, well, we're still learning. Like I think you have to be really careful when you're saying like we're still learning. Like then the test shouldn't, you shouldn't be labeling the test as like het. You should be labeling them as like 85% het. Like I think even something as simple as that on the report outs to say like 85% het instead of 100% het or instead of just het, I think that could have helped with a little bit of backlash as well, right? But like I said, at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. They're doing the best they can. They're all good guys. They're working hard.
I agree.
It is what it is, right? And we're gonna roll with it, and that's okay. And if you're gonna get stuff tested, you got to send it in, right? I don't think this is gonna change. I think if this is what you're like, well, I'm not getting stuff tested now. I'm willing to bet a lot of those people weren't getting stuff tested anyway.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not saying 100% of those people weren't, but a lot. I know a good portion of people that weren't getting stuff tested before. So,
Can I change our gear?
Can I say one more thing about it, though? Can I say one more thing about it?
Yeah.
I think what added to the confusion, and I don't know how much RGI had to do with that, but I mean, you had like Clutch and all that kind of like putting videos about DG is polygenetic and here's how it works and stuff. And so I think a lot of people started seeing it as, oh, well, it's gospel because they're saying that this is what it is. I mean, that part of it is really what I think made people, now it puts RGI in a kind of a weird position.
I had a conversation with Ben kind of specifically on that because Ben and I talked and he's like, well, we told people like there's other stuff. I was like, I know you did. And I get what you're saying, but I also know, well, you have that side. People hear what they want to hear. But also, like when you go back and look at a lot of the messaging, it wasn't the specific like, oh, these are pos hets or these are 85% hets. It was a lot more of just these are hets.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I kind of felt once they started getting some anomalies, probably should have been a little more aggressive. But I think we also forget, all of us, right? The 30 people that are in here right now with us. Maybe the 200 people that are super active online make up like 1% of the industry.
Right.
And so, Ben brought up, he's like, we talked about this stuff all the time on our videos. And I was like, yeah, but your videos get like 100 people or 200 people.
Right.
That's such a small portion of the industry that those people may be educated, but there's a lot of people buying tests that aren't necessarily educated on it. And when they just see something from Clutch or they just see a result reported as het desert ghost, that's what they roll with. Because they think, and that doesn't make it, that doesn't make them right. It's just kind of what happens, unfortunately. And that's where, when we have these tests, we got to be really, really, really careful to make sure that it is like 100%. And if it's not 100%, we need to really make sure that people understand, like, this isn't 100%. It's as good as it's going to be right now, but go forward with caution and make it, make the advertising painfully aware that there's no way somebody could be like, oh, I just didn't see that. Well, literally on your result, it says 85% het. If you didn't question that at that point, that's on you, Captain Jack, know?
Disclaimers everywhere.
Yeah, I think so. But no, I think they're going to be okay. They're doing some good stuff. We sent out, a shit ton of samples to them recently. So, I mean, I'm practicing what I preach, right? Like I tell people, like, it's as good as it's going to get, and you send the samples in, you get them to test it, and you just get your results back and be honest when, as a seller, everything we sell, if it's an animal that's tested, we label it as tested and what the pairing was. So I can at least, sleep at night saying these people bought an animal knowing it was tested and what the pairing was that produced it. So there's no, in my mind, questions to be asked there.
Agreed. Yeah, I do the same thing.
I think it's important to say that. So, my plan is once they have a massive release, so like the 300 or 400 samples, I'm going to go through, I'm going to put all the numbers together, and then we're going to hop on either Late to the Mic or Tree of Trust with Chimera, and we're going to go through all of the numbers, and we're going to have Ben come back on, and we're going to talk through everything with them. So I'm hoping to have that within the next month so that we can have a little bit more clarity. But yeah, it's it's been a little bit of a mess, but I think we're getting there, fortunately.
Yeah, it's a lot better now. I like it. I like the way it is now. I'm hoping it's what it is, man, just to see and we can move on.
Yeah, I know. I agree. It's and also just one last little thing. I don't think that this is what killed the Desert Ghost market. I don't think it helped it, but
No, yeah.
Desert Ghost was a gene that spiked massively in value, got produced a shit ton of, and it started to see a slight correction. Unfortunately, it started to see a slight correction right as the testing came out.
Right.
And I think that those two factors together are what caused, on some level, the drop. But I don't think that I think people want to blame the RGI for the fact that Desert Ghost tanked. And I wouldn't even argue it hasn't tanked. It's just gone down like everything. But people want to blame RGI, and I don't think that's fair. I think there's
a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors.
It's complicated, right? So anyway.
There's a lot more of them out there. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
I've watched Desert Ghost clowns like go from 15K to what, maybe 335 now for a male, maybe 3K.
Yeah, but you know it's funny, like even that project, right? So like pre-COVID, what were they selling for? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
No, not pre-COVID, man.
Oh, pre-COVID. I'm sorry, I wasn't
listening. Pre-COVID. DG clowns I could pick up for 7K without a problem.
I was gonna say 7 or 8K.
Yeah, without a problem. And if you bought multiples, and so the DG clowns went way up, right?
Yeah.
And it jumped up, right? You could not keep them at stock at 10K. They jumped up to 12, 15K without any issues. So it doesn't surprise me that it's kind of, and of course, just like everything in the industry, right? People started breeding so heavily for Desert Ghost Clown stuff, specifically Desert Ghost Clown, not even like mixing other stuff in, right? I can't tell you the amount of pairings I saw where somebody's like, oh, I'm breeding my Desert Ghost Clown female to my Desert Ghost Clown male. And I'm like, that's a terrible decision.
Like that is
don't
a very,
that.
How many people don't even realize that though, too, you know?
I like that both of y'all just kept talking. You're like, I'm not going to stop.
I always do. Pay attention to that guy.
Yeah, nobody cares about what I was just saying. I'll finally actually hatch Desert Ghost Clowns this like right now.
That's wild.
I'm a little behind the times.
But here's the deal too. I also like I need everyone listening right now. Anybody who listens, I need y'all to listen and take this to your soul right now.
You get 1 minute.
$2,800 for an animal is a fucking shit ton of money for a fucking animal.
Amen.
It is great money. Don't bitch and complain because your animal sold for $2,800. I don't care if you paid $15,000 for that animal. Yeah. That means in 7 animals you've paid for your animal. Yeah. Fuck off. That is great money.
He's gonna.
I tell Angie that all the time, dude. It's like this is money that just comes out of like thin air. Really, like we just made these. And if I paid $200, that's more than I had before it came here.
I understand the frustration. I get where people are like, "Oh, I paid $10,000 last year." I get that, guys. I paid a lot of money for some animals last year, and they're worth not nearly what I paid for them. But that's okay. Yeah, like it's fine. That's the way it goes. So understand, like, do the math. Figure out how much it costs you to make an animal. Like, be honest. Do the math.
Right.
I'm going to assume even if you're reckless with your production, it's still under 300. Thank you, Troy. If you're reckless with your production, it's under $300 an animal. And if you think about that, and then let's go through the year and calculate how much time you invested through your whole collection. I'm willing to bet even with an obscene hourly rate, you're still under $1,000 in animal production. So guys, if you're selling it for $2,800, that's still an $1,800 profit. Yeah.
Right.
Can I jump into like
yes.
Beast Morse just said, hoping the price cutting slows a little bit. Patrick, you and I have been in this a while. I've been in this game for 25 years.
Yeah.
In the ball python part, it's been about 12 years for me. I truly believe that right now the pricing that you see is probably pre-COVID normal pricing.
Yes.
And so I think even the sales side of it, right? So like what I'm seeing sales wise takes me back to what, quote unquote, the normal pre-COVID, days.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, we had this big spike, and Patrick and I have talked about this a lot. You see this big spike in sales and then it drops. And so the assumption is is that things are dropping and like pricing are dropping and price gouging and the market's tanking and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I kind of think we're just in a reset. Does that make sense? Like we're just resetting to like pre-COVID times. And so this is the norm, not necessarily a drip or a drop or dip. Oh my God.
I think we have a very large amount of new breeders coming in that they bought in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. They bought hyperinflated animals. They saw this string of just incredible sales, and they assumed that's what it was going to be forever. And now we're returning back to a normal market where we don't have just free flowing money constantly and people bored at home buying on the internet.
Yeah.
And we're returning back to normal sales, pre-COVID sales. You know, prior to COVID, man, like there was a real hustle to sell snakes, man. I was on Facebook, I was on Instagram, I was calling people. Like it was hustle, right? It was different. And that's back where we're at. I think also people saw during that period animal pricing going up regularly. And that was an anomaly. That doesn't happen. Like a DG clown doesn't normally go up in price. They go down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
what makes a DG clown go up in price is adding better genes to it.
Right.
And I think that's the part too that people kind of missed. They thought, oh, I can just make the same animal year after year and make a crap ton of money. It's like, no, like normally animals pricing drops 25 to 30% on recessives and 50% on codoms. That was kind of like the standard understanding. Like you buy a banana male one year for $10,000, the next year it's going to be $5,000. You just know that, and that's okay. So yeah, I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I don't know if I've said it on this podcast, but like, I don't know why it didn't click originally. So all these people that bought animals in 2020, 2019, 2021, they're having their first clutches right now, right? If they bought hatchlings, they're having their first clutches now.
Right.
And that's also part of what is adding to this market is you have this whole legion of people that spent a lot of money and bought a lot of stuff. And now they're introduced to the market and they're like, whoa, this is not what I thought I was buying into at all. And so I think that's adding some instability. But in general, Troy, I think you're 100% right. This is if you look at pre-COVID pricing, we're probably off 10 or 20%, like not that much. Pricing was truly hyperinflated during
You'll
COVID.
see that anyways, though, because of the supply being completely different now. There's way more DG clowns available.
Yeah,
so that would, even with that 20 or whatever percent you think that might be a little bit lower, that would have been there anyways, just with the simple fact that there's way more supply.
It's fair. Okay, Troy, I'm sorry. I'll stop talking. Jacob, we need to learn more about you, apparently.
That's fun, though, man.
I was having a good time. Troy wasn't.
I think it's funny that the guy that's doing like Photoshop shit over there is telling us what we should be talking about. I really find that funny, dude.
Talking to a client right now on Facebook. I'm talking to the chat. I'm trying to listen and talk to you guys. I've got like 9 things. I'm a multitasker tonight, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing. No, I don't. We can talk about whatever, but I definitely want Jacob, to get your fair amount of time here tonight to talk a little bit about yourself and the snake side of stuff and what's going on in your mad lab and all that fun stuff, man. So by the way, I'm on my Apple phone, which I don't really use a lot because Apple's made in North Korea by communists, and
Andrew likes
I've only got 10%, and so I might have to end up like falling off of here and getting on my other phone. So just giving you a fair warning.
Fair enough.
Jacob, let's go through all the dumb normal stuff we talk about in podcasts. Tell our followers and our guests here tonight, man, about your collection.
My favorite jeans.
No, just tell us about what you actually have. I'm not going to ask you your favorite jeans. That's stupid.
Well, I don't have any lesser. Sorry, Tony.
Thank fucking God.
I literally have 0. I had a lesser. I think I got a lesser het clown like my first couple seasons. I ended up selling it, but
nice.
I don't like it.
I'm gonna go grab a bottle of water real fast. I'll be right back, guys. Please don't.
Jacob, you know what's really funny that I haven't told Tony yet is I have a breeder lesser like het sunset girl. Like I feel like I'm gonna make him buy it from me.
You should make him buy it just for saying he likes it.
Yeah,
he's got to pack up his words with his wallet.
Yeah.
No, so I work DG Clown. That's like one of my bigger ones. Monarch Clown is another big one I'm working. I haven't hit one yet. Hopefully this year is the year. I got 12 eggs in the incubator. Yeah, just those are my two main projects. And then I'm getting I've got some hypo DG stuff and some exanthic DG stuff that I'll eventually it's going to all be incorporated together, different plans each year, what I do with stuff. And yeah. I'm trying to get codoms into the Monarch Clown stuff. So I've got a lot of het clown girls that are going to go to some really cool males I've had holding back, waiting for some tests. But yeah, I've got animals from 2022 that are like breeder, like the males are all breeder size. So I'm just waiting for tests.
Yeah.
And, once that clears, then I'll be in a good position.
Yeah. What like if you could snap your fingers and have a Monarch Clown combo, what would you like to see in it if you could just have it?
Man, I want to see. I kind of think about like what a Pompeii Monarch Clown would look like.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, I know it wouldn't be as contrasting with the darks and the lights and stuff, but I still think it would be awesome. Anything along that line, I want to see. I like spot nose, black pastel stuff. Wow.
I don't know what just happened there, but I love it.
Yeah, that's funny.
That was cool. We like shape shifted and like switched spots. It's kind of cool. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got going on. My season's late.
How many breeder girls do you think you have in your collection?
I was just talking to Tony tonight about that. We did a little count. So I think I have like currently around 20 actual breeder females. Maybe a little less than that. I've sold a lot of breeder females. I've gotten out of a few projects too since I've gotten in. But yeah, but I think I have like 40 females that either are proven or are like building now or should do something this year.
Yeah, it's always kind of a tough question, man, when people ask me like how many breeder girls I have, because there's always like this whole rack of like 40 or 50 girls or something that are like right on that cusp.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I either have 120 or I have 170. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah.
I have a lot of that too.
Yeah, that's always the crux, right? It's like, we'll see how many go, question mark.
Yeah. You and I got to meet at In-N-Out, a few years back in the wonderful world of California. And then shortly after that, you vended with me at Las Vegas.
Was it before that though?
I met you before that, and then we vended.
I think me and Antoine vended with you one time.
Yeah, that's right.
Just kind of like side.
Yes.
It wasn't really like we just brought some snakes and some displays.
You vended with Josh and then me, and then you guys kind of all split up a table. That's right. I forget about that. So
yeah,
In-N-Out, and then hanging out at California. That was the Anaheim show. And then we did the Vegas show. And the Vegas show is where you pulled off some magic and sold an extremely beautiful animal.
Yeah.
To our friend Tony.
I didn't want to sell it either.
Yeah. Would you, if you could take it back, would you keep that animal? And by the way, guys, it's a remind me, Jacob, spot nose, inchy something. I don't know.
Inchy leopard, desert ghost clown, female.
Yeah. Beautiful girl. Would you have, like in hindsight, would you have kept it?
Oh yeah. Like you asked me that now, cause she's like getting close to size. Like, yeah, but I mean, at the time and like, where I was and what I needed to get, like that helped me get it allowed me to get myself prepared for growth. Like I bought multiple racks. I got displays. I did a lot of things to like grow, and I'm pretty good for now. Like I don't see myself needing to buy any new racks or anything for at least a couple of years. So I think in the long term, like it was a good decision.
Where would you fucking put the new racks?
No, I bought them already. That's what I'm saying. I got 2 racks that don't even have anything in them.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like you.
Oh yeah, I'd have to move. I'd have to either have a new room.
Yeah, you can't add any more racks anyway.
I'm hoping it coincides with my teenager stepson moving out of the house, because then that'll be another room.
Perfect. Just kick him out now. How old is he?
He's 14.
I'll kick him out now. He's fine.
Yeah, he's great. He knows how to make grilled cheese. Yeah. He's good.
Jacob has Jacob's got a wild 3-year-old that might just pop up out of here any minute, climbing up or something.
I put a restraining order on him before the show. So
nice, yeah, good.
How much Benadryl did that take?
Yeah,
Benadryl. He's got too high a tolerance for Benadryl now.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said what you said, Jacob, because I think sometimes for people, and again, I say this as it's always situational based, right? Like you can sell an animal for X amount of dollars, and that was a very good sale for you, and you could take that money and roll it into making things better, racks, maybe buying a couple different animals or whatever.
Yeah.
Or right, you hang on to it and you play somewhat the long game. You wait 2 or 3 years for it to be able to breed, blah blah blah. So I'm glad you said what you said, because I think more people get stuck on the fact of having to hold something back versus like, oh, I need a new incubator, or I need racks, or I could take that animal and buy 2 or 3 girls that would maybe even further me down the road. So I think what you did is really neat. I think it's a situation, and it's a big learning situation for people. And I think what you did was great. But yeah, it's nice to hear that you're good with it.
Yeah, and I also kind of at the time I kind of I kind of understand economics, just in a general sense, not necessarily like this market, but I kind of was under the assumption that the iron was hot, so to speak, at the time.
Yeah.
I knew that it was going to be, like just from people making more and more and more, the value of that particular animal was going to go down and down and down. I knew that was coming. I didn't know the economy was going to go where it went and all the other things that happened. But, so I thought too, like if I was going to sell this animal and this is like at its high point of value and, what I could do with that money, it just made sense. And I don't regret it. Like you said, like it would be nice to have it though. Like, yeah, sure. I'll take it. Yeah. It's already almost awake and ready to breathe. Let's go.
Tony's gonna do something cool with it though, and we're all gonna get to watch, man, and it'll be a lot of fun to see what he does. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How do you feel like? Do you feel like going through that? You were a newer guy. You were just starting to vend a couple shows. You made a big sale. Like, did it all seem like a natural progression to you? Do you feel like you jumped a couple steps? Like, how do you feel from where you were to where you are now?
I definitely feel like I was fortunate for like even just getting in and having the opportunity to talk to Sebastian for months. I didn't even buy an animal from Sebastian, but I talked to him for months on the phone. He called me when I inquired about an animal, and for probably 3 or 4 months before I bought anything, he just talked to me about like where the market was heading, and he was telling me about, double recessive is like the game right now, but it's not going to be the game in 5 years. People are going to start working more codoms into it, more, you're going to start getting triples. So like, he explained it to me before I even knew what the genes were. I kind of had an idea of the market before I even knew what the genes were. So going into that and just having that guidance for so long. And then even to this day, we talk and stuff. I have a good relationship with him. Having that, and then just like I just went out, man. I started following people on Instagram, and I found out who was local, and like with Antoine, Andrew, Jerome, like there's people like that I just went out and met, and I just put myself out there. Like when I didn't really have anything but my collection growing up, that was just a bunch of hatchlings. I pushed my Instagram, I pushed my logo, I pushed my presence. Just got to know as many people as I could. Got to know you. I literally owe you mainly, but you and Josh, just the opportunity of getting to vend, at all. I feel so fortunate that I'm in that group. It's kind of like, sometimes it's surreal. Like I think about like, maybe I take it for granted, but like you kind of are like a rock star, Troy.
No.
Whoa.
Yeah. Dude.
You don't want to say that here, man, because Patrick will get hurt. His feelings will get hurt.
My mind just got blown. Troy's a rock star. Troy, will you sign my tits at the next show?
Hell yes. I'm going to make sure this happens, by the way.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. I'm in. We'll do that on a live stream. It'll be good.
No, I've always felt like overwhelmed with the presence of the people that I found myself surrounded with. And I totally appreciate all that. Even getting to meet you, Patrick, at Tinley and stuff. Like I've always seen you and knew of you and stuff, but it was cool to actually hang out and eat dinner and make fun of Troy, and it was
Jacob.
great.
I love that you bring that up, because I told this story on a Snakes in the Fat Pen podcast where when I first started, right, my first trip to Daytona, no one would even fucking talk to me, like no one, and then flash forward 5-6 years, and I'm at dinner with Chaise and Justin and JT and Steve Russis and Andre, and it's like, what the fuck happened, right? And you
right?
feel like if you feel blood, so it's cool. And Troy is a good guy. He's been around forever, so I get what
he
you're
is
saying.
good.
It's tough to get into the Troy circle. I can't get into the group, so and I'm on a podcast with him, so
Yeah.
You gotta. I'm telling you, man, it's quite the process. So
I think what it is that Troy would be easy to draw. So you like remember him really super easy. He's just really basic human face.
I have a big fat head.
Yeah, it's pretty basic.
Yeah. Yep.
wow.
Yeah. Nice.
Easy to remember.
Do you think like through this conversation, Jacob, that like that's your recommendation to people, right? Is to like put yourself out there and don't be afraid to talk to people. I'm with Patrick too, right? I've definitely been at dinners that I felt like, holy shit, how did I end up here with these people?
Yeah.
I've had those moments, but yeah, for sure. Like and it's not like I knew what I was doing. Like I researched everything. I bought my snakes. I created my name, my logo. I did all the business aspect of it. Just kind of rolled with it, and like I would just take pictures of my snakes. And like I would take a bunch of pictures and I would just like share one once a day or every other day or something.
Yeah.
And then the weekend would come, I'd take another 10 pictures, and I just kept doing that with nothing. But I don't know. I just feel like you should kind of hit it all at the perfect storm. It's the way to do it, I think. And like talking to Tony, like I've kind of mentored Tony, and he's kind of taking the same route and stuff. And it's beneficial because if you're gonna have, it's cool if you're making 15K animals, but if nobody knows who the fuck you are, dude, it's going to be a lot harder to convince some of these guys to give you their money versus somebody else that, they may know, like whether it's Troy or Justin, Babu, whatever, all these names, Patrick, it's like, it's good to do it. I mean, I can see people overdoing it, with things and stuff. I never really wanted to do a podcast until recently. But I mean, yeah, I think it's important. I think it's really.
Wait, are you telling us something right now?
What? Are you starting a podcast?
Well, there is in the works. Yeah, me and Andy from Redwoods.
Oh, really? What's the name going to be? I know y'all haven't thought about that at all.
Haven't thought about it at all. We actually didn't even have to think of our name. It's kind of cool.
Please tell us. We're all curious.
Well, I'm afraid of a copyright infringement. I don't want anyone to steal it.
Oh, do you know what? Yeah, that's fair. Don't share it yet, guys. It's quality though.
It is quality. It's 100% Patrick. Was that you and Andre that came up with that? Or?
Yeah, Andre and we were gonna do it, and it just Andre's kind of introverted, and I don't think he ever really wanted to do the podcast as much as I wanted to, which is clear because he's not here and I am. So, but that was actually an Andre special, to be honest. It was
That's
good
nice
stuff, man. Yeah, it's
Andre's cool. And Andre's another one too. I've bought a few snakes over the years from Andre, and he's always been super helpful and always willing to talk about clutches and stuff. Some of my favorite, like awesome snakes that I'm looking forward to this season are from Andre.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. I love that so much.
I got a lace doublehead DG Clown girl that's leaving this year. She's building, and then I have a Confusion doublehead.
Oh, that's super cool.
She's probably another year away, but
I love that, man. That's awesome. That makes me happy to hear.
Those are all Capital Reptiles.
Yeah, Capital Reptile specials. Yeah, for sure, man. That's super cool. I love that.
What are you doing, Troy?
Trying to sign in on my other phone because I have like 3% on this phone.
He's looking at porn.
He's probably
gotta go to my headphones here. But
yeah,
have you seen my baseball?
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I thought this was gonna go a lot worse today, just for the connection side of things. Once I got off of, so I was on the like the condo's Wi-Fi early on, and I switched to my hotspot on my phone, and it's been much better, which I think in itself is a problem.
Right.
Oh, Troy is back.
Hey,
there's the echo.
Do I have an echo?
Yeah.
It told me if I used my earphones, I wouldn't.
Did the echo tell you that?
All right, hang on.
It's a mild echo.
Well, that's annoying.
I agree.
I'm coming back. Hang on. So dumb.
We don't have to let him back in, by the way.
You guys keep guessing our name, but you'll never, dude. The name is so ingenious.
We'll just change. We're no longer we're no longer late to the mic. We're just Chimera. It's fine. Don't tell Troy.
Oh, that's rad, dude. Yeah. Fuck you, Troy.
Chase and Troy don't want to be here now. It's just Chimera. We're good, guys. Yes.
Andrew's all nice headphones, dork.
I love it so much.
That's right.
We are so unprofessional. I love this show so much.
That's great.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness, man! This has been fun. This has been a good time.
Yes, sir.
We are getting close to the hour and a half mark. So my question now becomes, what's the topic for tonight for Chat GPT? What are we doing?
Dude. Andrew Lyons goes to West Hollywood.
Okay, hold on. Andrew Lyons?
Yes, Lyon.
Hold on. No. Go in. Okay.
To get a tattoo. Did you put goes to West Hollywood?
I said goes to Hollywood. Should I say West Hollywood specifically?
Yeah, West Hollywood. Do specifically
Okay.
West Hollywood.
Andrew Lyons goes to West Hollywood to get a
tattoo of anal beads.
Anal beads
on his chest.
His chest.
With an Asian hooker.
And
a Shih Tzu. Or any dog. That's probably hard to spell.
It's okay. I'll just do a dog.
Toy poodle.
Okay. Is that it? Hey, hold on.
I think so.
Write a funny story within 250 words.
Andrew, I just thought about that. All I had to do was think about the anal beads on your chest.
No, here's what's shocking though. No, you had to have put thought into this, right?
No, that was just like what came to my mind right now. I knew it was going to be about Andrew, and I kind of figured, like, as soon as I think of Andrew, I always think about the anal beads on his chest. That's like the first thing that comes to mind. So
okay.
So I figured I'd go with it.
Oh, apparently we're not. We're gonna find out what portion we violated, but we definitely violated.
It was probably Andrew, just the name Andrew that violated it.
It says this content may violate our content policy or terms of service. If you believe this is an error, please submit your feedback. And then it proceeded to write me a story, so we're gonna go with it anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have no idea how this goes, but we're gonna go ahead and just go with this now.
It better be good.
Doubtful, but we'll find out. In West Hollywood, Andrew Lyons had a plan that was, let's just say, unique. He wanted to immortalize his wild side with a tattoo, a string of comically oversized anal beads across his chest. But he wouldn't do it alone. Accompanying him was Ling, an unapologetically outspoken Asian escort. With a penchant for bizarre adventures, and Mr. Fluffington, her overly pampered toy poodle with an attitude twice his size. The tattoo parlor Inks and Winks was a kaleidoscope of neon and eccentricity, run by a burly artist named Big Joe, who had never heard a request quite like Andrew's.
Oh shit!
Hold on. Troy's coming back, and he needs this. This is a good one.
You gotta start over. Oh my God! Dude. Oh
Troy, can you hear us?
Oh man,
is that a picture of Lisa behind your head, Troy?
That's hot.
Oh, yeah.
Troy, can you hear us? Can you hear us? I can't tell.
Oh, can you hear us?
We were doing so good.
Yeah, Lee. That was so good. Troy, can you hear us?
Just nod your head if you can hear us so I can read this story while you're listening. Oh, he's not nodding his head. I don't think he can hear us.
No, he keeps freezing out too. Oh,
I heard a noise from Troy's computer. It went ding.
Yeah.
What's he on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you now.
We can hear you.
Oh my God.
Sounds like a robot.
Okay, I got to read this. I'm reading the story now, so we're just going to roll with this, Troy. If you can hear it, great. If you can't, I'm sorry. In West Hollywood, Andrew Lyons had a plan that was, let's just say, unique. He wanted to immortalize his wild side with a tattoo, a string of comically oversized anal beads across his chest. But he wouldn't do it alone. Accompanying him was Ling, an unapologetically outspoken Asian escort with a penchant for bizarre adventures, and Mr. Fluffington, her overly pampered toy poodle with an attitude twice his size. The tattoo parlor, Ink and Winks, was a kaleidoscope of neon and eccentricity, run by a burly artist named Big Joe, who had never heard a request quite like Andrew's. As Andrew explained his vision, Big Joe's burly face cracked into a grin that said, "This is going to be one for the books." Oh my God. Troy, you're gone. Let's see. This is going to be one for the books. Ling, decked out in glittery high heels, offered running commentary, making snarky remarks that had even the stoic Big Joe chuckling. Meanwhile, Mr. Fluffington, perched atop a velvet cushion, surveyed the scene like a king judging his court. As the tattoo needle buzzed, Ling decided to live stream the event, narrating the dramatic flair. "Behold, the brave Andrew, embracing the sting of art," she declared. The stream quickly gathered an amused audience, captivated by the odd trio. The final result was something. The beads were cartoonishly large and colorful, stretching heroically across Andrew's chest. It was absurd, ridiculous, and somehow perfect. As they left, Big Joe called after them, "Come back anytime. This place could use some more character." Ling, Andrew, and Mr. Fluffington strutted out, their mission accomplished, leaving a trail of laughter and bewildered smiles in their wake.
That was the only thing they left.
Oh my God. That's gold. Man, that turned out quality. I like that.
That was nice.
It was heroic.
Oh, that was great.
Oh my God. I'm really sad Troy's not here.
It's all right, dude.
Troy's staying in the comments. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
probably
good.
better he's not. Yeah.
I mean, I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
You know, now that he's gone, let's just do another 3 hours. I mean,
Yeah,
why
why
not,
not?
right? Yeah,
So
I mean,
sit back and watch.
yeah, sure. I guess I should be a good host though. Hold on. Let me go back to late to the mic. All right. The problem is I never made a layout for 2 guest speakers for late to the mic. I only have 3 and 4.
All right.
So,
Yeah,
anyway,
that makes sense. Yeah.
It's fine.
Funny.
Oh my God. But all right, man. So this has been fantastic. Thank
Yeah,
you
man.
so much for coming on and hanging out with us and get to
Appreciate
talk a
you,
bit. No,
Yeah, man.
absolutely. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
I mean, I'm really just on Instagram. And then I'm going to have my
Okay.
motor market. My Instagram is Sybil.Serpents. But yeah, I think it's Troy's got the link. He was going to do something with it. I don't know.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll put the link for your Instagram and your Morph Market down below in the comment section, or the description, I should say. So everybody go give Andrew, Jesus, go give Jacob. I know, sorry. Go give Jacob a follow, like all that good stuff, and help support him. And then, guys, you can find us at all the normal places, Chimera_reptile. Morph Market, go join the Discord. The link is in the bottom. It's a free Discord. We just hang out there and talk about shit.
Yeah, I'm there, man. It's a good Discord.
Yeah, it's a fun time, man. Yeah. All of Troy and Chase's links are also down below. So guys, if you haven't gone, followed, liked, done all that good stuff, go do it. And then if you're not already, please like and subscribe to the show so we can get more followers and we can feel important.
That's right.
I think that's it. Andrew, if you want to stay, Andrew, Jesus Christ, I keep seeing his name scroll across the damn thing.
I look fat today, so you probably
No,
think I
it's
look
not
like
that
Andrew.
at all.
I look really fat today, so it's probably why you keep confusing me with.
Well, no, I'm looking at the comments here and I just keep seeing Andrew pop up constantly. I'm like, what is he doing still here? He's all over Grinder. That's amazing.
Yeah, he is. He is, dude.
Amazing. Okay,
For sure.
Jacob, I'm staring. There it is. This has been great. Stick around. I'm going to hit the outro and we're going to end the show. Everybody, we love you. We will see you next week for a special Thanksgiving episode. I believe it's going to be Josh Jackie from Ball Shed.
Nice.
It's going to be a good time. We love him. We will see y'all next Thursday. Bye, everyone.
Later.